All right, welcome back to another episode. Episode? All right, video with me, the Black Opinionated Woman. I am the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a Bo. So I want to apologize for being a minute late. My phone was being blown up because I was in a four-car crash today. And I have been very fortunate that I was not the cause or any of it. I was the last one tapped, but other people were kind of like their cars were jacked up, and one lady had to be taken to the hospital, but I think she's fine. So, anyway, just wanted to take care of making sure that my family knew that I was okay. I have shut my phone off because people are still trying to contact me. I will reach out to them in a little bit, but I am fine. It's just, but anyway, so we're going to recap. Let me go ahead and put this up here. All right, and just like that, episode 5, the reasonable writer Rachna Fruchbom. I'm hoping that I've pronounced that correctly. So, anyway, I just want to put this up here. These are just my opinions. Anything that is said is basically a lie. It's just my opinion. I mean, just yeah, don't come for me. Um, yeah, so I'm trying to get myself together because it was kind of like interesting today. Luckily, like I said, I was not injured, but I want to get right into it. So, if you know me, I typically talk about three things: Black women, Black culture, and anything related to middle age. And so I like to recap things like middle age shows. I'll talk about parenting. What is it like to be middle age, and you start to have little things that kind of like irk you or whatever, like little medical things, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I said parenting already, right? Career, whatever. But so today, like I said, I'm just recapping the reboot to, and just like I'm recapping the reboot to Sex in the City. And so here we are, episode 5, and I'm going to bring up my thumbnail. So for those of you who know me, I like to show you what you clicked on. So if you've clicked on this thumbnail, then you're in the right place if you want to hear me recap episode 5. Oh, you know, let me take my picture out of there. Season 1, episode 5 of the Writers Room podcast. So if you take a look at homie on the right, that's Michael Patrick King. He talks too much. And then there's Rachna Fruchbom. So I think she's kind of reasonable, which I'm beginning to think when the episodes that I halfway liked, I realized it had nothing to do with Samantha Irby. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I feel like Kelly Goff and Roxana, I think. I don't know. So let's get right on into it. So Michael Patrick King, Mr. Narcissist himself, introduces everybody, and there was more fawning, more like I love you, I love you, I love you. Okay, so I'm figuring like usually, like, hey, look, we're 5 episodes in at this point. You would think we'd be past all of the sycophant type behavior. So basically, it came out that I'm sorry. I have the wrong thumbnail up. I'm thinking of episode 6. Disregard what I just put up there because I actually watched episode 6 today. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and recap episode 6. And then I'll post another one for episode 5. You can tell I'm out of it. I have the wrong thumbnail and everything. So, okay, let's go right into episode 6. We're going to skip episode 5. Let me go ahead. Let me just let me repost this back up here since I am clearly dysfunctional. All right, let's try this again. This is, and just like that, episode 6. Out of order because I watched 2 today. This one was about Diwali and everything else. So everything else remains the same as far as the things that I'm talking about and things that I noticed. I'm going through it. So this is Rachna Fruchbom. And so Michael Patrick King, he basically was talking to Rachna as if she was like they were homies. I was like, I guess they're homies now. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Oh, hey there. So, all right, being that I started off with talking about the wrong episode, we're going to continue on episode 6, and then I'll come back either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll recap episode 5. So, look, he basically is treating Rachna Fruchbom as if she's like a homie. They were talking about basically they're claiming like it was like one big old party, but they didn't really show much of anything, and it was just like they were basically talking about this whole episode, which is Diwali. It talks about when light triumphs over dark. So that was the whole thing in like honor of Diwali. But this is the thing. I think he basically was talking about how in this episode that Carrie was invited to. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Carrie invited herself to Diwali. Okay. Whereas he said that he actually was fortunate to attend the Diwali celebration, but he didn't invite himself. Okay. So he had to center himself. Okay. We all got it. So basically, Rashna basically explained that during this episode that it was more so about the gathering versus the spiritualness of the whole thing. And so he basically wanted to take this episode as an opportunity to push the characters through, to develop them through the whole storyline. So I don't know. He made a whole bunch of references to about like the main characters, which would be Carrie, Charlotte, and Sarah. Carrie, Charlotte, and Miranda. I'm sorry. You can tell I am still dealing with today's accident because I was like having to talk to people and everything else. So basically, they were talking he was talking about how like there wasn't a whole lot of reference to the original cast of characters, their parents. So you remember a little bit about Steve's mom having dementia and that type of thing. Miranda's mother died, but there's not much mention of her father. They talked about Charlotte's dad. They've seen a little bit of him from the side when she got married, and but they said that there was this concentration on Seema's parents being from Queens, New York, and how it's like Seema, any other time when you see Seema, because I think she's perfect in every way and she could do no wrong. He said that she's almost like a superhero, but in actuality, her parents are almost like her kryptonite. And I guess I would kind of agree with that. Okay. I mean, I would kind of agree with that. So anyway, he was just trying to, or they were all like basically trying to set like the whole context of who Seema was in relation to her parents. All right. So back at Carrie's apartment, Michael Patrick King, he's still like yap, 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 yap. Um, they were talking about that whole evolution of how, like, look, the audience pretty much figured that she was not going to go back to her old apartment. And so they decided this basically, let's surprise the audience and not have her go back to her old apartment. Let's bring her into this new apartment, this weird, ugly apartment that had like way too much sunshine and light. So in the process of doing that, basically they said that they really couldn't find anything in New York City that would match the idea of what they were looking for. So they built this very elaborate set, which I thought was interesting because there was nothing elaborate about it at all. It was like all white and like a counter and some cabinets or something, but apparently it was a really elaborate set, and then they had the green screen in the background for looking over the water or whatever. But they wanted to take their time to call it out. Something about her being like looking really harsh in that apartment because she was in the wrong light and some other nonsense. All right, we're gonna move past that. All right, so let me just say this. We were doing they they entered into this whole plastic surgeon scene, which I was actually okay with this scene. I was okay with this scene. Okay, let me take this whole big thing off because like this is like distracting. So they have that scene with the plastic surgery, and of course there's this whole big call out of ageism, right? Because we know that they like to call out their ages. I think what I like was they allowed for Carrie's character to be critiqued, right? And I actually thought there was some comedy. I remember in that scene, there was a little bit of comedy, right? Like, I was there for a little bit of a hee haw. There was a comment that they made that nature and Instagram is harder on women. And I would agree actually, because we can't get old, apparently. We can't get old, and people want to tell us about it all the time. They want to remind us that we're old. But anyway, there was this whole notion of Carrie being vulnerable in this scene, and I basically thought the whole thing was kind of funny. But basically, there's this whole reference to Big dying, which explains why her face was drooping, and I don't know. I just kind of was like, I don't think that that really was that significant. I never even made that connection. So if they wanted us to make that connection, it didn't land. But in this episode, I just felt like once again, Michael Patrick King was doing a lot of talking, and I kind of felt like the writers themselves, and since they have so much of a backstory and they do like to infuse some of their personal lives in these stories, and I feel like the writers should be the focal point of this writers room podcast as they are trying to walk the viewer or the podcast listener through what these characters were going through, the development of these characters. I just feel like he just talks too much. So, okay, they moved ahead and they wanted to have a very like Miranda light episode. I'm actually moving through this, I think, kind of quickly. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So, they wanted to have a Miranda light episode. So, originally, so this is the part I didn't understand. They wanted it to be a Miranda light episode, but this is the thing, these are some of the things they were contemplating. They thought about having Miranda in the corner enjoying herself. Okay, you can catch that, you know, in giving herself pleasure. They've also considered her, I guess, being on a washing machine, and I'm just kind of feeling like I'm glad that never made it into the episode because I don't think it was necessary. It wasn't necessary. We get it. Like she's going through this awakening. So we got that without those references. Thank goodness they didn't put that in there. So I can't remember who made this comment, but they basically intimated, or they actually said they wanted to slow down the Shay and Miranda story, which I honestly think they could have slowed it down more. Because, like I said, throughout the series, I think they threw too much at us. There was no finessing of the storyline. They didn't finesse us at all. They didn't develop this relationship. It just kind of was thrust upon us. Now everyone's in love. I'm like, middle-aged people, they just suddenly fall in love like that? I don't know. I could be out of touch. I could very well have a blind spot. So what I don't want to do is be completely no, yes, I do. Yes, I all the way do. It didn't even make any sense. I was trying to be understanding, but I can't understand that. Nope. It didn't make any sense. So, but they did say they wanted to slow down that the Shay and Miranda story. Um, they wanted to basically in this moment, they didn't want to have too much of Shayna, so they wanted to show this vulnerability in Miranda, have her like doubting things. So I get it. I still feel like they could have written this much better. I do. I think they could have written this much better. So anyway, that's just my opinion. But anyway, so they had that ladies in the park scene where they were picnicking, and they basically they I remember when Carrie made that point about how some people don't have the luxury of not changing, and also they were talking about how Carrie didn't want people leaving because they already had experienced loss already. I do remember when I think I was recapping that episode. I think I definitely recall those moments, and I thought those were very poignant moments in that episode. So I think it was okay what they did in this scene where the ladies were lunching in the park. I had no issues with that. And so this is the thing, Rashna, she made a comment. She said that she wanted to show a balance of judgment and sensitivity. Now, this is my opinion. I think she kind of sort of does. Like she seems almost like a reasonable writer. Okay. I'm not saying she gets everything right, but I think definitely this is the problem I have with these writers. So I feel like when you make a statement like that, but then you have Miranda go completely off the rails, something doesn't marry up correctly. Like it's kind of like this, like your words in the way you wrote it just didn't, it didn't. So I just kind of felt like they didn't show that when she said they wanted to show a balance of judgment and sensitivity. We didn't get that in Miranda. Miranda didn't show any of that. She was teen too much. But I do think overall that Rushna gets it. So I think this is where Samantha Irby doesn't, right? Because everything about Samantha Irby is like it's just a lot. So I think maybe it's her writing style, or maybe her storytelling, and I feel like she's going for like the shock and awe, whereas I don't think Rashna was going like Rashna. Please, somebody correct me how to say her name. I don't get that she was going for that. Okay, so anyway, I just feel like they wanted to show this balance of judgment and sensitivity, but nothing about Miranda showed good judgment or sensitivity. So then there was the sari scene. They were talking about the sari scene where Carrie wears a sari, and it's basically Seema in the episode. She's basically giving her permission to wear a sari, right? So that there's no cultural appropriation, and I don't have an issue with that. My only issue with the sari scene was now look, I grew up in New Jersey. Um, there was a large Indian population there. I know from other interactions with Indians, the saris are so elaborate and just so beautiful, and they're like wearable art. I don't even know how to describe it. And when um, Indians dress up for any of their holidays or weddings or whatever. I mean, and the way they're adorned is it's just so like I can eat it up. They're so beautiful. So I felt like we didn't get enough of that. We didn't get enough of that. So Michael Patrick King's talking about like I found this shop. I did, me, and I was kind of like, okay, I get it. You found the shop, but I felt like I wanted to see more. Like I'm sure in real life this store is amazing, but I just kind of felt like I would think in this shop I would see more jewelry or I don't know accessories or something. I don't know. I wanted to see the fabulousness. Like I wanted it to be like that's when you go extra, and then to put a sari on Seema's character, Seema Patel, that's her character. Um, I'm just thinking like that was that opportunity. So anyway, I just thought it could have been more elaborate actually, and I think they toned that down. But that's just my opinion. They talked about the whole Naya thing. I'm gonna be honest. Rachna loved all these scenes about Naya dealing with the fertile myrtle situation and then going home and get down with her husband. But I'm gonna be honest, it was like one big yawn for me. Yawn, like all the way yawn. I don't know what it is about Naya's character. I that is so it's weird because like she's likable but boring. I don't know. I don't know why there's no connection. Like when you look at Lisa Todd Wexley, which is Nicole Ari Parker's character, she is so all the way fabulous. So I'm like, I love it. She can read the dictionary, but like she's perfect in every way. She could do no wrong, similar to Seema. But Naya, and I mean, they wrote her as like this intelligent, kind of just smart. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know. One big yawn. It was one big yawn. Even though she got down to get down, I'm like, so I'm over it. So they wanted to talk about the pressure for Naya and her husband to have babies and also the stuff with womanhood, and I get it. So I see like when Rushna, I believe she was the one who kind of like wrote some of these scenes and was just kind of like she wanted to just show like that delicate balance. And I get it. I just was, I was ready to yawn. So Michael Patrick King thought it was risky talking too much about infertility. Somebody tell him to shut up. Let me put my little ticker up there. This is for Michael Patrick King. Shut up. What do you know about riskiness when you're talking about infertility? For some people, it's great. For some people, it's not. But I just feel like it's not for you to say. I just feel like somebody just go tell him to take several seats. Go have a seat. Take several of them. Shut up. I don't want to hear him talking on women's issues. I don't. I don't need him to talk. And like I said, when you have these writers who are writing key scenes, why does he need to talk? Especially when you're talking about women's issues and that type of thing. This is the good time when you let these women break that down. But he just has to just jump on in there like and stand 10 toes down. I'm like, please tell this man to shut up all the way. All right. So he's talking about the love make and all that stuff. I was just like, I don't care. But anyway, he made it clear that he wanted, no, Reshna said they wanted to show happiness and in love and love making and all this other stuff. But she, and then they made a reference to the comment about like if they didn't make a baby after they had that sex and whatever. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know, I was bored. I was like, I mean, it was a cute scene, but I don't know. They did say that they didn't want to make Myrtle clueless when Naya was at the dinner table with them. I get it, but I don't know what it is about that Naya character. I like her, but she's feeling very side character versus someone that they're trying to develop. I don't know what it is. She makes me want to yawn. I'm like full on nap time, nappy nap. Okay, so they wanted to show the new apartment scene. And what I found throughout this episode, there was a whole lot of reference to bravery. Bravery, like how brave Carrie was, how brave they were to talk about infertility, how brave, how brave, how brave. So basically, Carrie's got beeping in the apartment. They wanted to talk about the yellow lamp and how it was like representing some sort of art or something, and this, and then a hat, and whatever. So they basically wanted to show that Carrie was bravely moving forward, even if she was kind of like out of whack. I don't know. I don't know if I consider it brave. I consider it just moving on, like, because at some point you have to. I don't think it's brave. It's not bravery. And I want to be clear on that. Like, when people go through things and they struggle with their journey of moving on or whatever, it just is, right? You're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. I don't know if it's bravery. And so when I listen to him talk, I'm just kind of like, it's like pure foot and mouth disease. Like, he's just so silly. So anyway, Michael Patrick King, when you have your guest writers or whatever you call them, when they're writing certain episodes and you're recapping it in a writer's room, I want you to take note of this telephone line, 1-800-555. Shut the front door. STFD. You know, I really want to say something else. Stop talking. You censor yourself too much. It is irritating. He is annoying. Diwali. Basically, we're going through the scene. Let me just say about Diwali once again. This would have been a great time, since they wanted to have all these woke moments, all these conscious moments, right? This would have been a great time to show more of the Diwali celebration. I keep saying Diwali because I know I'm American, but I know it has like that V sound, the W is a V. But this would have been a great opportunity to show that celebration, to show how it's just so beautiful and colorful, and women are so beautiful, and the men look handsome, like, and it's festive. That's what people want to see, because we don't get too many opportunities to glimpse inside the culture. But I don't think they spent enough time on Diwali. They spent more time on trying to develop Seema and Carrie's friendship through Carrie covering for her. I don't have a problem with them trying to develop the friendship, but if you're going to call the episode Diwali, and we don't see much of Diwali, and we don't see much of the beauty. Now, granted, maybe it's just because I'm a fan of when I see these kinds of celebrations. They're just beautiful. Everything is just so elaborate. So why not show people what this looks like? Give a glimpse into it. I don't think there was not enough of a glimpse. All right. So anyway, Seema's like, I'm a bad Indian, or at least that's what they said it is, because she basically has the fake boyfriend. After she goes through all that, and basically Carrie figures out that she's just lying, all the way lying. But like I said, Seema could do no wrong, and she's perfect in every way. So it was practically chiseled in concrete that she had to do this. I think it's practically a law somewhere that she had to lie to her parents about the boyfriend that doesn't exist. But nevertheless, once Carrie figures this out, I love how she does show up for Seema. So that's one of the things that they mentioned in the Writers Room podcast. And I would agree. She shows up for her. She's like, oh, she kind of like cover. She does some covering. And so basically, this is how they're trying to further their relationship along. Seema's like lying about a boyfriend. Carrie's like lying about the apartment. So Seema's like, well, you got to be happy where you live. So we'll get you another apartment or get you out of it. And in that moment, Seema ties this red string around Carrie's wrist. And I think it represents, I forgot, I think it's bravery or friendship or something. I don't remember. But I do like that scene. So, in the end of the episode, or towards the end of the episode, they showed this scene where Carrie is wearing her necklace, but it says Carrie. I do believe it was at the end of the episode. So she's basically like going back to her roots. Hey, I'm live. She's going back to her roots, and basically, it's like everything that was taken from her, but that little piece, she still had that little piece of the Carrie, the original Carrie. I like that. I still have my old school nameplate. Maybe I should wear that one of these days. All right, I'm getting down to it. Charlotte there was this scene. I guess they did this out of order as far as how the episode went, but Charlotte um, was helping Carrie with unpacking some of the big stuff. And so basically, I kind of liked the scene where she was basically like, well, what's our goal here? And so, basically, Carrie's like, I just want to get a couple things for the apartment or whatever it is. But then, Carrie starts feeling some emotions. And what they were talking about, what the writers mentioned was, it was in this moment because Charlotte learned from episode 3 that, she kind of like centered herself and Carrie's pain. Well, Charlotte recognized that she wanted to help Carrie, and Carrie's like, she just wants to feel it, whatever. And Charlotte got it. So she let Carrie feel what she needed to feel. And I like that. Um, they were making a mention about how somehow in this scene that Carrie was after she went through that whole plastic surgeon, and they were like critiquing her face, like towards the end of the episode, I think she was basically looking at herself, and I think she's just kind of like happy with her old face or something. I don't know. All right, we're getting down to the last little bit here. The writers, who was this? What did I write here? Oh, so they basically, I think it was Michael Patrick King who said that he was happy with um, the characters becoming themselves. So what he said was Miranda texting Shay with her finger in her mouth or whatever, like as if like this was this coming to age or something. I don't know. Charlotte gives Rose now Rock the haircut, and then Carrie just keeps her old face. This was kind of like, I don't know. He just wanted to say that, and I was like, okay. Um, the thing, he thinks Cynthia Nixon's acting is exquisite. I think she needs to go back to improv or something. Now, look, I am not an actress, okay? I'm a regular engineer. So, look, I can't speak to the nuances of being an actress. But what I will say is, yeah, I was over Cynthia Nixon and her weirdness. Um, so these are my takeaways, and then I'll be done. This is what I think. I wish the writers would just talk about the intent of what the episode was supposed to bring. Like, I feel like they spend more time bigging themselves up for like, yeah, we did that. But I'm like, did you? I just think that like there was this, I don't know, like I feel like they spend more times doing the preening of themselves and telling themselves how great they are. And I don't think that they are connecting with the viewers. There's a reason why people are like, this shiggity is crazy. Let me just say this, just because I get gratuitous. Kelly Goff is just really irritating. I just think when you look at Kelly Goff versus Rachna um, Fruchbom, I don't know. I just feel like Rachna kind of Rachna, Rachna and Kelly both kind of like get it. Let me just say that. I feel like Samantha Irby is just she's just out there. I think she's feeling like she's so like avant-garde or like so on edge or edgy or something because she's just so out there. But you got Kelly Goff and Rushna. I feel like their episodes that they were heavily involved in with the writing, it seemed a little bit more normal. I don't know. So basically, my takeaways are before I end this is that Samantha Irby and Michael Patrick King are annoying, and all they do is lick themselves and lick each other like they're cats and like tell each other how great they are. Like they're in front of a mirror, like, I'm just so great. I'm a wonderful writer and I am perfect in every way. And the only one who would be perfect in every way is Seema, with Lisa Todd Wexley as a close second. Otherwise, I just wish that when they are recapping these episodes, that they would just no, all right. Look, that's pretty much it for me. I don't know what you guys thought about it. I'm sorry I started off saying this is episode 5 when I was recapping episode 6. I do have episode 5 notes. I might do that tonight. I may do it tomorrow since I was completely dysfunctional. But anyway, all right, let me get on out of here because I am a mess. Black opinionated woman out.